Big boy truck. Let's get it loaded. GTR is officially going away. Trailer is here. We're loading it up. That's it, guys. The car is gone. He's just pulling it back out right now because he actually loaded it up just for me to get it on video. But he's got to take it out, put all the cars, rearrange them, and then put the GTR back in. As you can see, it's actually coming back out right now. Bye-bye, GTR. Today is a bittersweet day. The R32 GTR is officially sold and is being picked up today, going all the way back to California. He's gonna get this car California legalized back at Top Rank Imports, where this car was originally imported into the United States. It is quite a sad day just because this is the most pristine R32 Skyline I personally have ever seen. When I say pristine, I mean in most original condition. This car is completely unmodified. The only modification this car has is literally a Clarion single-DIN radio, just because the factory one does not have Bluetooth. The previous owner who first had this car registered in the United States did a ton of maintenance to this car within the United States, even after it was imported by Top Rank. The timing belt was done, the water pump was done, all the HICAS was done, fluids, everything. Even in Japan, this car was so highly maintained that I have a stack of receipts of service records ever since this car had its first oil change at 600 miles or 1,000 kilometers. Even has the owner's manual that came with this car, the original GTR key, the valet key. And you guys might be asking why I sold this car or why I didn't really keep it all too long. The story is I basically bought this car on Bring a Trailer because for the longest time, I had been seeking an R32 or R33, and it was the only JDM car that I had just really wanted for really no particular reason. And maybe in fact that it was because I slept on this really clean 89 GTR back in 2018 when these cars were like $20-something thousand. I still kick myself in the butt every single day for not buying that car because it was really well done, modified, high quality Tomei parts on the engine. It had really nice wheels, but for some reason I bought an NSX instead, and I still highly regret that, honestly. So that led me to years of searching for R32s. I searched Cars and Bids, Bring a Trailer, P-Car Market, a lot of GTRs that I did bid on, but ultimately did not end up winning. And that's when this car popped up on Bring a Trailer. And it was pretty close. It was in Virginia. If I flew there, I could drive it back. And that's exactly what I did. The car bidded up to around $47,000. And I ended up negotiating a price with the seller after the fact, where the bid did not meet the reserve. So we came to a deal. I took a one-way flight ticket to DC airport, took the car on a test drive, gave him his cashier's check, signed over the title, and the car was mine. And we drove it all the way back to New York. And that's where this car has been for the past 8-9 months. We didn't do any single modification to this car. At the time, I don't think I even had a daily driver. I didn't have the Civic Type R. I believe I had just sold my truck. And the only car I had other than this was my 91 NSX. And that was a car I also bought on Bring a Trailer, I think sometime in June or July of last year. The NSX has actually been in the shop for about 7 months now, just getting a myriad of things done, transmission, the ECU, wiring harness, additional maintenance items. Hopefully we have that car in the next 2 weeks back here so I can enjoy something other than my Type R. We didn't do anything to this car, and I actually had really wanted to modify this car as soon as the NSX was done. The NSX is still not done, so that's why this car never got modified. I just don't want to have too many projects at one time. It's nice to have a car that is turnkey, such as this. You know, you just hop in, you turn the key, and you drive. You enjoy it, and that's it. This car doesn't need anything right now, so it would be a shame to start the modification process and then be in the same boat where this thing just takes years to accomplish something. And I didn't want to just do like a single modification and then do another modification. I don't like to do that at this point unless you have all the parts readily available and you have like a set build in mind. So if I were to modify this car, I would have done full bolt-ons, exhaust, suspension, wheels, all at the same time. And just saying those things, I'm counting like $10,000, $20,000 in my head already. And I didn't want to do that. 1, for the money, 2, because of the time, 3, I don't have a shop anymore. Building this car right now would just not make sense to me. As you guys know, I've owned 60 plus different cars over the past 10 years. A lot of the cars on average, I only keep for about 2 months, I would say. If I really like it, I'll keep it for about half a year to a year. If I don't like it, the car's listed within 48 hours. My goal is to buy as many cars and experience them, see the pros, see the cons, drive them, see where they excel, see where they do not. There's so many other cars still out there that I haven't tried yet that I really want to do. This car, being in its all original factor, just made it such a desirable spec that I just had to have it. Once I started researching on the importation process and just the how-tos, the do's and don'ts of buying a JDM car, it really started to limit the kinds of cars that I was looking for, because I learned about the Car VX, which is like the JDM version of the Carfax here in America. And a lot of cars always have these hidden issues, or they've been previously crashed and repaired. It's buying a car from auction, basically sight unseen. You have no knowledge of the car unless you hire a company to look at the car for you and give you a PPI, a pre-purchase inspection. You really don't know what you're buying. These cars are not cheap anymore. This car is the same price as a lot of luxury cars, brand new from the dealer. So who's gonna go out and buy a 30-something-year-old car that could be unreliable, had accidents, may not have been maintained, or you can go out and let's say $55,000, what does that get you? I think BMW M2s used to start at that price. Now they're probably like in the 60s, but you know, with markups on everything, like everything is just marked up. It's absolutely insane. The market did start to cool down when I decided to list this car for sale, which sucks. And that's honestly part of the reason why I've had it for so long, is because the car has been listed for sale for about 5 months. I think I listed this car back in February or March. It was on a lot of Facebook Skyline and Right Hand Drive and JDM for sale pages, and I never got a single solid offer for this car. The thought of putting it on Bring a Trailer was my last resort, and it was actually a scary proposition because, and I'm gonna be upfront about it, the reserve for this car, when I put it up for sale on Bring a Trailer, was only $44,000. That is low. If that car sold for 44, I would have been at a big loss. The buyer pool right now at the time was super limited because interest rates are high for cars, especially collector cars. Interest rates for people with excellent credit, I think, is about 8 to 10% APR on collector cars. And not a lot of people have that kind of disposable income right now with inflation, cost of living being so high. Loss of jobs is actually crazy right now. Like, tech companies are just laying people off every single week. So this car finally hit Bring a Trailer. The person bid $40K within the first hour this car was listed. And it sat at $40K for about 5 of the 7 days that this car was listed. And finally, the bidding started to go up the day before. I think it went up to like 41. And then the day of the listing, it's a Friday, I'm like stressing while trying to work. The last 10 minutes just went off. The car started going from 41, 42, 43, 45, 47, eventually hit 50. I'm like sitting there over there. I'm like, yes, the car finally hit the reserve. Like, the car could sell for 46 and I'll still be at a loss. But, you know, I was just praying in the last 10 minutes that the bids would keep going up. There was a bidding war. There was, I think, 2 or 3 people that really, really wanted this car. And the person that ultimately won it is in California. He was gonna get the car fully legalized for California, which is not a cheap expense at all. I think it's around $10,000 to have that done, which is why a lot of people who buy these JDM cars and live in California, they just title them somewhere else. I don't know how that works, but there's always like a Virginia title or Florida title or some other title, Montana, that is not California, just because of that legalization process. But the person who bought this car, he is doing it right. He's really excited to own this car. He's gonna be really happy with it. It is such a pristine car. And like I said about the modification process, I don't know if this car should be modified. Unless you're doing a full build and you have really deep pockets, you shouldn't modify this car. I would just keep it the way as is. Just maintain it and enjoy it. I take it to Cars and Coffee here and there. Just keep it pampered, clean all the time. I never drove it in the rain, nothing like that. And honestly, that's just not me. I like to own cars that I can drive all the time and not really have to worry about it. You know, when I buy the car, I want to enjoy it, I want to use it, and take it to shows, and it's my money. I do what I want with it. So, you know, people always give me crap, even for the Type R. They're like, why do you drive the car like that? I'm like, what do you mean? It's a Type R. It's supposed to be driven like that. You know, I didn't buy a Type R to put in the garage and take it to car shows every weekend. And yeah, I do that with my car, but I also take it to the track. I drive it in the winter, I drive it in the rain, I drive it to work, I go to the gym with it, put my dog in it, put my family in it. That car does everything I need it to. And that's why even John Cena drives a Type R as his daily. A discussion for another video. I'm doing a 10,000 mile review on my Civic Type R. So that should be about another month or so of driving, and I will give you a full review on that. What are we looking for next? What's the next car gonna be? It's really hard to find what I'm looking for right now, just to get a good example for not a crazy price. But I want an EK9 Type R or a DC2 Integra Type R. I do want an FD RX-7. That's the only JDM Legend I have not owned so far. I've had an NSX, I own an NSX right now. 2 NSXs, 2 Supras, 1 Skyline, but no FD. So I wanna try the FD. I don't care about the reliability at this point. I just really wanna own one and try one. And here's my impulse brain working again, just buying cars because I want them. But there was a Supra that I was bidding on today on Cars and Bids. It was a 24,000 mile, all original, 95 target top, black on tan, auto NA, and the car sold for $52,500 plus the Cars and Bids fee. That's over $55,000 plus tax and title. You're talking 60 grand for an NA auto Supra. That car was like 15 grand 5 years ago. So it's just crazy how much these cars are going up in value. And I'm lucky I didn't lose money on this car. As long as you enjoy your hobby without losing money, I think that's the most important thing. If you guys find a nice JDM car for me, please send it my way, or any driver's car for that matter, send it my way. That's everything about the Skyline that you need to know. It is a great car. I'm really gonna miss it. And once this car gets picked up, I'm gonna be looking for my next one very, very shortly. So we'll see you guys in the next video, and hopefully the next car that shows up is one of those that we just mentioned. Take care, guys. Have a good day, and make sure you subscribe, like, and we'll see you in the next video.